Uncle Bashabi's Kitchen. Today, we're doing brisket. For this recipe, you're gonna need 60 grams pink Himalayan salt, 60 grams whole black peppercorns, 30 grams of dried minced garlic, and 30 grams of dried minced onion. I have them in the same container there. Also, you're gonna need some olive oil, and of course, a brisket. All right, here's the meat. This is a 10-pound USDA prime black Angus brisket. Woo-wee! And it looks good. I picked this thing up at Peconic Prime Meats in Southampton, right around the corner from my job. They were extremely friendly, knowledgeable, and helpful. They helped me pick out this particular cut because of its size. I'm using a 22-inch Weber kettle, and this thing is perfect for that. These things do come a lot bigger, but this is perfect for what I need. Okay, so the first obvious thing we have to do is take this thing out of the package. I've got a pair of shears here just to start it. Okay. And I notice when I open meat, if you just open one end and then come right down the top through the middle, it's usually the best way to not make a huge mess. And I'll just take this, flip it over my trash can. Alright, that looks gorgeous. It really does. Now what we're going to do is just take some paper towel. We're going to start patting this dry. We want to take off this extra blood and moisture. Okay, good enough. Alright, now we're going to have to trim this brisket. There's a lot of extra fat here. This whole thing is just hard fat. You're not going to be able to eat that. No human would ever want to consume this, so we're going to get rid of it. But at the same time, we want to keep a little bit of the fat. That's going to help keep the meat moist, help protect it, give it a little layer. But in the same token, when you have exposed meat, those are the areas that are going to get the good bark. So we're also going to get some good muscle exposure here so we can get that good bark. All right, let's start. We have a few tools here. I have a regular French knife, or a chef's knife as they call them. I have a fillet knife and a sharpening steel. You always want to sharpen before you do this. A sharp knife is way better than a dull knife. Dull knife will cut you. Okay, since we're going to tackle this big piece of fat here first, I'm just going to have at it. I'm just going to gauge it as I go so I don't take off too much and waste meat. Now this fat that I'm taking off is still very usable. You can use it in burger mince. You can render it down and make tallow, which is great for cooking potatoes. You could also render it down, as part of a broth. You can put it in soups and stocks. It's great. I'm just cutting away a lot of this fat here because this is totally inedible. And I want to see a lot of that beautiful muscle right here. I mean, that's going to be gorgeous when it's smoking. Alright, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. I think I'm going to clean this edge up too. Come here and take most of that off. Look at that, that is just beautiful. Thing of beauty. That is one gorgeous piece of meat. Now with your French knife, you want to come around and just shape it nice and round and smooth. Like this corner can go. Anything pointy is just going to burn. So if you contour it all, and give it a good general shape, you'll get a nice even cook with nice uniform results. chips. All right, so now with this particular cut of meat, there's two muscles, so there's two different muscle grain patterns. When you have the point going this way, you can see that. Now it's all going this way, and then you got the flat, and that's going this way. Now, when we cook this, it's going to be hard to tell which way we want to cut it. So obviously, you will always want to cut against the grain with meat. It makes it more tender and edible. What a lot of people do is they'll just, I'm going to do it now, is just take your knife and right at the end just put a slice, and that lets you know you're going to cut this way, and then just put a slice here, and that's going to let you know to cut this way, so you get the right grain when you're ready to serve this. All right, this thing is ready to be rubbed down with our seasonings. Before we season this, we have to make the rub. Here, I have a mortar and pestle. What I'm going to do first is take my whole black peppercorns. I'm going to go ahead and put these in. And I'm going to start to mash and muddle them and break them up real good. Now, you could use just pre-ground if you want, but it's not as nearly as aromatic as doing it this way. I mean, these things, when they're fresh and they're broken up like this, they smell so delicious and really, in my mind, make the whole flavor of the dish. It gives it that genuine bark on the outside. I think this is one of the real key components in creating that bark. Okay. Okay, so after you finally break that up, you can go ahead and add your garlic and your onion. I'm going to break this up a little bit as well, just to help break it down and incorporate it with the pepper. And then finally, your Himalayan salt. I'm also going to break this up. For anyone that's ever used this, you know that when it's in the package, I guess because it has a naturally high humidity, it clumps up in the bag. And for this application, you want to have a nice, fine and separated, cohesive rub. Okay. After you've done all that, you can add this to your stainless steel bowl. The reason I'm doing that is because I don't want to contaminate my pestle mortar with any raw meat. Next, we're going to put a little bit of olive oil on here. I'm just going to rub this all over. Get a nice thin film. Now I'm using extra virgin olive oil. You can really use any oil. I just prefer this because I'm bougie. I'm bougie as hell. Alright, I've actually seen people use a lot of different types of mustards. Some people will even put Worcestershire sauce all over this first. Me, olive oil is enough. I want to try to keep more of the natural complexities of the meat intact, but to each his own. Now you just want to apply this liberally. When I say liberally, do not be afraid. You're probably worried that this is a lot of salt. It is, but you're going to lose a lot of it during cooking. It'll fall off. And because this is beef, it's so dense that most of this seasoning isn't even going to penetrate deeply into the meat. So this coating is going to be the flavoring for the entire piece of meat. that spot right here. We need to season that under. So I'm definitely going to make some burnt ends with this. Why not? When in Rome. Alright. Don't be afraid to use it all. This is the flavor. Alright, so once you've got this thing completely coated, you're gonna let it sit for about half an hour to an hour. Some people will let it sit overnight. You don't have to. The reason you're gonna let it sit is because you want to let this rub, A, bind to the meat, and B, you want the salt to pull out some of that moisture, and it helps it all bind together and create delicious flavor. All right, thank you. Okay, so what I've created here is called the snake method. You just basically line them up like dominoes, make sure they're all touching. Sprinkle a little bit of your smoking wood throughout. I put more of it towards the beginning of the cook because the meat takes on most of its smoke flavor during the beginning anyways. Then, in this little pot here, this little chimenea thing, I started a bunch of coals, waited till they ashed over. Then you just take those and you place them at the front of your snake. You don't need many, it's like 10 or 15. And now what'll happen is this will all burn like a fuse. And as it burns, it goes pretty slow. So this here, I could probably get, I don't know, maybe 14 hours, maybe more out of this, maybe 15 hours. It's a little more humid today, so maybe about 15 hours. And then over here, I was boiling some water. It's hot. And you just put this in this pan here, and this is going to help stabilize the temperature inside this grill. And it's also going to help provide that much needed humidity so the meat doesn't try to dry out on me. Also, this could catch a little bit of the drippings to help make cleanup a little bit easier later. So once this starts going, I'll put the rack on there, put the lid on it, we'll temper everything, come back, I'll clean it, and then we'll get the meat on. Okay, right now the grill is good to go. It's making good smoke. The new charcoal has ignited. I already cleaned it off. Now with this particular piece of meat, since the one side is thicker, we're going to place it more towards the heat source and keep the thinner part away. Just set it opposite the heat. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I got this little oven thermometer. Just going to let it hang out in here. Also, opposite of the hot side, I'm going to put this probe so you get a general idea of the temperature on the opposite side of the holes. And then also, I'm going to take this probe and shove it into the thickest part of the meat. Nice and deep. Alright, so with all these set, I have the vent on the bottom open up all the way. Then, to help circulate the smoke better, you're going to put this vent opposite of the hot. Make sure your lid is good and leave the top vent open. We're reaching a target temperature between 215 and 250 degrees. That's a good smoking range. Also, we're gonna let this go for 4 hours. We're not gonna look at it. We're not gonna touch it. We're probably gonna smell it because it's delicious and the whole neighborhood smells like it. But we're gonna let it go for 4 hours and then we'll check it after that. All right, so almost 4 hours has passed. Fortunately, the snake went a little bit faster than I thought it would. And the temperature on the thermometer started getting crazy. So I was like, the fire's definitely getting close. And as I'm seeing here, it is. So we weren't getting very accurate readings on that thermometer. Which I'm gonna have to turn around here a minute. Also, at this stage, if you notice there's some liquid pooling. You don't want that, because that's going to hinder the development of bark. So a method to stop that is to ball up some foil and kind of drape it over so it starts to drain. You can do it over here too. Ooh, this sucker's hot. There. That'll help get rid of some of that cooling. Alright. Also, this is optional and I didn't mention in the ingredients. I have water mixed with filtered apple cider vinegar. Only reason why I filtered it, and it's through cheesecloth, is because I learned that if you don't filter it, it gets clogged inside this hose and ruins your water bottle. But I like to spritz it. Anything I smoke, I like to spritz it after the first couple hours. That's just going to help develop that bark, keep it moist. Position this. Maybe hold this a little. And that looks good. I mean, I got plenty of fire left. Plenty of smoking time. Probably let this rock like another hour, and then I should expect to see the stall. The stall is when the meat temperature stops rising, and it'll stay at about $1.65, maybe $1.70, and it won't want to rise. At that point, I'll decide whether to stoke the fire to let it push through or wrap it. I'll probably wind up wrapping. This bad boy is ready to be wrapped. Luckily, the fire lasted just as long as I needed it to. We had a couple storms roll through, and between the rain and the wind, it made the thing burn faster than I wanted it to. But it's alright. We got it where it needs to be right now. Ooh, jeez, Christ, that's hot. All right, I'll catch up with you guys inside. All right, the brisket is 160 degrees internal. It was just in time because the fire had stalled itself. It was raining and there was wind, so Went a little faster than I thought, but that's fine because the meat is cooked. And instead of butcher paper, I'm going to use old grandmother's trick, paper bag. Before I put it in, it's going to give it a nice liberal spritzing with our apple cider vinegar and water mixture. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm gonna let this sit here while I go outside and I'm gonna prepare the fire. I had some coals going already. They're already ready to rock, so I'm just gonna go assemble that and you'll see me out there. Those things are cherry. Not even gonna pick that up. That thing is hot, 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 hot. This thing was practically glowing red. Alright, so this might not look like much, but it'll get this grill up to a nice temperature and give us a good base in the next couple hours to keep adding to if we need to keep this thing at around 250. It's nice and cool. And the sweet thing about this is I got this lid here on the grill itself. I'm going to let that rock for 2 seconds, come up to temp. I'm going to go get that beef. Okay. Put this opposite the hot. Oh, hold on, I also got one thing. All right, thermometer. Okay, I'll check on that in about an hour. Alright, it's starting to rain again. I'm noticing my temperature slipping down below 250. So, before it starts pouring rain, it's looking real dark off in the distance. I'm going to go ahead and add some coals to these existing coals. Check on it in an hour. Alright, so another hour's passed. I'm just here to check on this fire, make sure it's still going good. Rocking at 350. As you can see, it is, or here at least, it's pouring rain right now. It's about, what time is it? I don't even know what time it is. 7:45. I've been at this for quite a while now. This thing should be getting ready to finish up here in the next hour. Alright, I'll come update you soon enough. Alright. Getting pretty late right now. It's currently 8:45. This thing has officially been on for about 12 hours. Okay. I was waiting for the rain to pass, so it went over a little bit. It's at 208. It's only 3 degrees over what you really want it to be. And then the real way to test this is to go around, oh yeah, and poke for what's called probe tenderness. And it's just the probe, once it gets through the foil, of course. Once it gets into the meat, you feel it just poke through, it's done. And right now, this is just poking in like it's not even there. I'm getting excited. This thing is finished. Alright, so now I'm going to take it off of the grill. And bring it inside. Woo-hoo-hoo. This thing is looking good. Alright, I'll see you all in there. 12 hours has gone by. This behemoth is now done. Alright, so I'm going to set it aside. And we're going to want to wrap this. So you're going to get the ugliest, most gaudy towel you've got. Because this thing's going to get messy. You just lay it out. And you're going to wrap it up and make it its own little bed here. Ooh, let's grab that without that. Wrap it up nice and tight. Alright, we're just going to let that thing sit there for 1 hour. You don't want to cut into it any sooner because if you do, all the juice is just going to run out. And then furthermore, while it sits here, it's going to finish. More of that sinew and that connective tissue with fat is going to break down just a little bit more while it sits here and make it that much more tender and juicy. The weather tonight gave me a real run for the money. But fortunately, I expected it to go about 12 hours and it did. So at the end of the day, I'm happy. I'm just hungry. So hopefully this hour goes by fast. All right, I'll see you then. Now it's time for the moment of truth. We're gonna unwrap this bad boy. Yeah, that's why you needed your ratty towel. Look at that. Oh man, it smells so good. I'm like imagining if I ever had to go to heaven. This is what it might smell like. Still warm. I'm just gonna throw this in the camper over here. Okay, that was only one way to tackle this bad boy, and that's the thing right here. Oh, look at this. It's like Christmas morning. Man, that it is gorgeous. Good juice in there, but we don't need that where we're going. Alright, I'm going to let this sit for about 5-10 minutes. Just to let it cool off so it doesn't burn my hands while I try to cut it up. I'll be back in 5-10 minutes. Alright, 10 minutes has gone by and I'm ready to cut into this thing. Okay. So, if you remember earlier, I had cut away that big chunk of meat, or fat rather, that was right here. And then that's what separated the point and the flat. So you want to take it and cut it about 1/3 of the way in over the point and the flat, where the two muscles separate right in the middle. You just want to cut it right down the middle there. Ooh, moment of truth. And wow. Oh my goodness, I am proud of myself right now. Look at this. Oh, look at the frickin' juice. Look at the smoke ring. Ooh, it's getting too hot to handle. Okay. I'm gonna cut right into this bad boy. Cut a couple good slices off of it right off the jump. This looks so good. Okay. And then now, if you noticed, I was cutting here, and this was the indicator we cut earlier to let me know to cut this way against the grain, so that you can get this nice pattern here where you can see all these little pieces of muscle. This is going to break up real easy. I mean, say that when you pick it up, it hang under its own weight, but then when you pull it, whoop, look at that, it should just break apart, which obviously it's doing. So I'm quite satisfied with the results here, and the only thing left to do is to eat it. All right, let's dig in. Oh wow. That was worth every penny that I spent on making this video. Man, it's like, I feel like I could die right now. I've done it all. The bucket list is crossed off. Boom. Alright, let's see what this point has. Remember, I put that cut there. That it's good brisket. I mean, look at the fattiness. The smoke ring is just phenomenal. Man, and that rub, outstanding flavor. Alright, that's a job well done if I say so myself. Alright, so this summer, when everybody's outdoors and you're trying to have a good time, remember, you could smoke meat on the Weber kettle. It's very easy, not too hard as you can see. I mean, I even got thrown in a thunderstorm or two today, and I still got through it and made this delicious brisket. Now, this is enough food here to feed them, you know, about 10 people at a picnic. So, you know, for your next barbecue, till the next one, pasta lasagna.